Okay, this is a message to all my fellow Christians. I'm going to start doing these videos for my YouTube and probably post a few of them on Facebook as well. Now, my question is, you say you're a Christian. When was the last time you helped a person? Jesus went around helping people every day. You say you're a Christian. How many times did you lie to the telemarketer this month? You don't have to lie to them. Just be honest. Tell them you're not interested in their product. Yeah, you're going to hurt their feelings, but it's a lot better than lying to them. We're supposed to be showing love and compassion. Now, that doesn't mean you don't stand up for what you believe. If you think something's wrong, yes, you say it's wrong. But you don't treat a person badly because they're doing it. How'd you treat the gay person you encountered at the grocery store today? Did you treat them with animosity because they're gay? You believe gay is wrong? It's against the Bible? That's true. But so is loving thy neighbor also with the Bible too. Jesus went home with the sinners. All he's asking you to do is to give them a kind word. I don't care if a person's gay. I don't care if a person is sleeping around on their wife. You still show them love and compassion. Doesn't mean you hide from what they believe. You don't tell them, yeah, it's okay to cheat on your wife, because you know it's not. But you do show them love. We are judged by our fruits. It says so in the Bible. Now, I'm not big on judging, and I'm not trying to judge anyone. I've screwed up myself many times. But it does say that you are known by your fruit. You can say you're an apple tree all you want, but if you produce oranges, you're an orange tree. Pure and simple. So look for that person you can help. Maybe a person in a wheelchair needs help getting something down off the shelf. Believe it or not, that's a very godly action. I've always been proud of my little girl because if she can't reach it for the person, she comes and gets me to reach it for the person because she shows love. When Jesus was talking to Nicodemus and he told him to love his neighbor, and he asked him, well, who's my neighbor, Master? Jesus simply told him, well, if you have to ask that question, guess what? You ain't loving. If you love your neighbor, you're going to love everybody you encounter. Doesn't matter what their lifestyle is. Doesn't matter if you agree with their lifestyle. Think about it. Are you going to get someone into church by beating them over the head with the Bible? Or are you going to get them into church by loving? Are you going to win them to Jesus by beating them over the head with the Bible? Or are you going to win them to Jesus by loving them? Most people, the only Bible they're going to see is our lives. And guess what? They know that the Bible says we're supposed to love people. Most everyone in the world knows that the Bible says we love people. Are we showing that we love them? Not too often. And I'm sometimes guilty of the same thing. I'll criticize people, and I'm not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to sit and criticize them. We're supposed to sit and help them. If you have a friend that's cheating on his wife, don't sit there and badmouth him and criticize him. Help him. Maybe you want to find out why he's cheating on his wife. Maybe he's not a dirtbag. Maybe things are just bad, and you can help him through it. Because if things are going bad, you don't need to add to them going bad. If a person is addicted to drugs, you can do one of two things. You can try to love them and try to help them and hopefully get them unaddicted, or you can treat them badly and drive them over the edge and possibly to suicide. Suicide rate is very high for someone that's addicted to drugs, and whether they commit suicide or not depends a lot on how we treat them. If they're feeling like no one loves them because of what they're doing, yeah, good chance something like that's going to happen. So show them that you love them. No, you don't condone the fact they're addicted to drugs, but you understand that they're hurting and they need help. Maybe it's alcoholism or whatever. Maybe a person's just going through a hard time. Maybe a person's going through a bad time. They just need someone to talk to. You're too busy to talk to them. What might happen to that person? They got no one to talk to them, no one to show them love. We live in a very busy world, and sometimes we forget to be kind to our neighbors. But we can't stop being kind to our neighbors just because we're busy. You have to show love. You have to show compassion. Jesus showed love and compassion. Jesus was hanging on the cross, and he told God to forgive the ones that done that to him. Now, how much love and compassion is that? And we can't even be kind to a person because we believe their lifestyle is against what we believe. It doesn't mean you participate in what they do. I've had friends that are partiers, I've had friends that like to drink and stuff. I had a brother that liked to drink and do drugs and stuff. He and I hung out a lot. We were very, very close. But I never partook in any of the things that he did. He knew how I felt. He knew I was Christian. He knew that I couldn't condone things like that. But it didn't change our relationship. We still hung out. We still had each other's back. I always knew I could count on him. He always knew he could count on me. And that's how you need to be with your friends as well. Make it very clear, hey, you're into this stuff. I'm not, but we're friends. We're not going to do the same things. I'm not going to join in with you when you do these things. You don't agree with their lifestyle, don't partake of their lifestyle. And there are times when you won't can hang out with them. You're not going to go to the parties that they go to and stuff like that. If the party's a drug party, yeah, you're not going to want to go to it. And you hope your friend understands that. You don't judge them for going. You just tell them, hey, this isn't what I believe in. It's against my beliefs. I can't go. Be very polite about it and be very loving about it. That might influence them, it may not. But all you can do, what I always tell my little girl, only thing we can do is to be an example. We can't judge the world. That's not our job. I wouldn't want that job, frankly. So that's why I always tell my little girl, we set the example. Not just on the things you can and can't do, but on how you treat people. My preacher one time said even how you act at work has to do with you being a Christian. He said that employers and co-workers and stuff, they expect more out of us because we're Christians. They expect us to go the extra mile. They expect us to be the ones that people can rely on to get things done because we are set to a higher standard. Christians are set to a higher standard. I saw a post just a few minutes ago about how Christians will come out against gay marriage and how wrong it is against the Bible, but at the same time they're smoking, drinking, cussing, cheating on their wives, stuff like that. You don't believe in gay marriage, that's all well and good. But there's a lot of other things in the Bible too. How well are you sticking to those? That's why it says we're not to judge, because we have our own weaknesses as well. Every one of us have a weakness, including myself. I don't care how good a Christian they are, they have a weakness. That may be Mother Teresa. I think that woman was probably a saint. She was a good example of how you're supposed to do. But yes, she didn't go around beating people over the head with the Bible. She went around loving people. That's all she ever done was love people. She helped anyone she could. Chick-fil-A gets a hard time all the time because they stand for the rights. They won't cater to gay marriage or gay banquets and stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool. But they also show love. Whenever people are in trouble, they're there. Here recently there was something going on, I forget what it was now, but they made sure that all the first responders had food and stuff. I think it was the tornadoes or the floods here recently. I've seen times when people were stranded in the snow, they brought them food and drink and then gave them a place to sleep because they weren't getting out of there that night. They show the love. They show God's love. They're not just talk, they're action. The people that own Chick-fil-A. And that's how we're supposed to be. You're not supposed to just talk, you're supposed to actually show action. And Christians have not been doing that enough. So whenever you're ready to sit and judge what another person's doing, look at your own life of what you're doing. Do you pray enough? Do you lie to telemarketers? Do you help the person that needs help? If you see a heavy person that's tipped over in their scooter because they're trying to reach something, are you going to stand there and laugh, or are you going to help that person up? Christians don't stand and laugh at other people hurting. They go over and help them to not hurt. So when you're thinking about all the things that the world's doing wrong, look at your own life and see what you're doing wrong first. Now, if you got a perfect life and you're doing everything right, okay, then maybe you got room to talk a little bit. But I guarantee you, if you take a good long look at your life, you're not going to be doing everything right. Now, it's not to say that you're going to have to say, oh, well, okay, this is okay, you're allowed to do this, it's fine. No, some things are against the Bible. You don't deny that fact. But you don't sit there and judge either, because your life is much better than the person out on the street. Now, I once seen a bumper sticker that said, Christians aren't perfect, just forgive them. Very important to remember that, because we are not perfect. And frankly, I wouldn't want to be perfect. The last person who was on this planet was perfect was Jesus, and they crucified him. So, I don't know that I would necessarily want to be perfect. But I do want to try to be a better Christian, and that means loving people. It means helping people. And that's what we all need to do, is love and to help. Okay, I'm done with my rant. You folks have a blessed day.